So, hello everyone, and welcome to the Experience Beyond podcast. In today's episode, we are diving into an essential topic for businesses looking to elevate their customer service capabilities. That is, building a sustainable CX foundation for long term success. I'm Anand Nigam, your host, co founder, and director of XEBO.ai. Here at XEBO, we have been working on AI-driven solutions that empower businesses to streamline their customer service operations while ensuring seamless, personalized experiences at scale. To delve into this topic, I am thrilled to welcome Sarah Caminiti, a customer service strategist, leadership coach, and the host of Epochal Growth podcast. Sarah brings over 2 decades of experience driving customer-centric transformations and helping organizations and leaders create impactful, aligned experiences that fuel growth and loyalty. Throughout her career, she has led initiatives that improve customer retention, optimize service delivery, and differentiate brands in competitive markets. From Vice President of Customer Success to Head of Customer Service, she has built a reputation of combining strategic vision and hands-on expertise to drive results. Today, Sarah will share her valuable insights on how companies can build scalable customer service frameworks that maintain quality while growing. We are excited to hear her perspective. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you so much, and thank you for such a lovely introduction. My goodness, I feel very esteemed right now. I'm so happy to be here.
20 decades in CX, Sarah. You have spent a lot of time. What makes you stick to CX?
I love making someone successful with what they're doing, whether that be a customer that's struggling to reset their password or something a little bit more complex, or if I'm building and scaling teams, helping my teams feel confident and valued and supported so that they can drive results and be successful. CX is such a special place because all you are doing is helping others find success in various different ways. And I'm very, very lucky to be a part of it.
Awesome. And that brings me to your first question, Sarah. In your experience, what's the most critical factor when building a strong and sustainable CX foundation across regions?
I love this question. Thank you so much for asking. Right now, we're in a really exciting period of time with companies' growth because you have an opportunity to be a differentiator. And if you start building that foundation from day one, it is much easier to scale. And what I mean when I say a strong foundation, that is putting the customer experience right at the center of every single business decision that you make. That's taking that customer insight, that's listening to what they're saying, that's asking deeper questions and feeding that into sales and marketing and product development, because you really need to start treasuring and like truly treasuring the people that have already bought in to what you're doing, rather than trying to convince so many other people to buy in. Because if you can convince the people that are there, that are valued, that we listen to them, that we appreciate them, they're going to then start telling everybody that they know how incredible your product is. And that's going to drive revenue in ways that you didn't even imagine.
That's very simply put. So, the key foundation for long term success is customer centricity.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Awesome. My second question is, Sarah, around the new age. So, how there's so much happening with all this AI and automation. Now, it's playing a significant role in transforming or shaping CX strategy. So, how have you seen these technologies help create a sustainable and customer-focused approach in organizations?
It's been so much fun to watch what's been happening when AI has entered the space, because many of us in CX have been doing a lot of the things that AI is introducing to companies for years and years and years, but manually. And now AI is starting to allow these conversations to evolve into why this information is so valuable and why these tools and skills and processes are so valuable. And what is it that I'm talking about that's so valuable, it is the data that we're extracting from those customer interactions. I am a firm believer that AI should not be talking to your customer. AI should be helping guide people to what they need. And whether that is making it easier for them to find knowledge-based articles, and that sometimes is in the form of a chatbot, but you're not pretending to be a human when you are a chatbot. You are just a chatbot directing people in the right direction. But the magic happens behind the scenes when AI is producing an unbiased root cause analysis on all of these different interactions with customers to advance ticketing and triaging to further push the conversation into understanding the holistic struggles that a customer is facing and where they're spending their time and what's really going on in their journey. And AI has allowed teams to prioritize certain functions that used to take hours and hours and hours, and sometimes entire individuals, into a much more streamlined way to dissect this information, absorb the information. And now those folks that their time has been freed up for that manual admin work, they're able to use their skills and their knowledge to analyze and problem solve and think outside of the box to build that proactive experience that we know our customers are looking for.
Awesome. So in a way, you are talking about AI to be a great enabler, and
Yes,
it is
AI is a
enabling,
tool.
it's a tool, absolutely. And it's helping people to proactively manage customers.
Yes. Yep.
Right,
Yep.
right.
It's a great thing.
You touched upon channels. So my next question is more around which channels. You talked about chatbots and all. Now, which are the channels which you believe are important in enabling great customer experiences, especially channels which would be relevant for, say, use of AI or technology or automation?
Yes, great question. And I think it's really important to acknowledge that every company is going to have different channels that work for their customer. And when I share what my personal experience is, that doesn't mean that that is the only way that people should be approaching the different channels that are out there to communicate with your customers. Listen to your customers and be where your customers want to be. That's always going to be the answer. I have found working in very technical spaces with very technical products, it is super helpful to drive a lot of the traffic to email, because when you're communicating with customers via email, you're not only allowing your team that space to pause and investigate and really be thorough in their responses and reduce the back and forth, but you're also creating a space for information to gather for the customer, and then they can go and reference it at another time. They can find those answers that they asked a while ago if something pops up again, continue that thread if they need to build that relationship with the customer team. And that's a really hard thing to do when you're on the phone, because when you're on the phone, usually there's a heightened sense of urgency, even if it's something that's not necessarily urgent. It's much more difficult to make sure that they are following the directions that you're giving them, because you can't see what's going on. You can't get screenshots from them. If you're asking them to use different resources, once you've said it to them, it's on them to save those pages and remember what they're supposed to be used for. So whenever I'm training and building teams that are looking into different ways to communicate with customers, and if they have customers that do rely on the phone, and sometimes that is the case, I always try to create systems where after they're done those phone calls with the customer, they send a follow-up email, and that follow-up email gives them the things that they touched on, those documents, those reminders, those special key tips that help them through their success. So we then have something for them to reflect back on and not feel like they're being a pain asking the exact same question over and over again.
So it's like resolution, you are providing a resolution immediately after the interaction.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a confirmation that we're all on the same page at the end of the day, too, because a lot can get lost in translation and in global companies as well. You have to be cognizant of the fact that sometimes things could seem like they work when you're on the phone, but could end up popping up in other ways down the road that they need to have a little bit more clarity on.
Given that resolution sometimes requires a teamwork, so many times you are interacting over the phone, and the agent might not be in a position to resolve there and then, but he can always get back to the customers. Now, in order to deliver such response, I think it's very important for organizations to work as one cohesive team in solving customers' problems, customers' issues, and so on. So, from your experience, how do you foster this effective teamwork to create a more lasting foundation for customer success within an organization?
This is such a great question. I'm so happy that you're asking this because this goes back to that foundation. If you have created a structure where the customer experience is at the center of everything and it is the most important space for your company's success, then working cross-functionally is happening day to day. It's not specific customer scenarios. It is all things are funneling through every single aspect of the business. And if you are a leader, it is your responsibility to create processes that define boundaries. Because when you define boundaries and reduce that ambiguity, you're empowering your team to be independently successful and understand when it's time to pass something off. So if you are a leader and you have channels that are like phone or chat, where maybe your tier one customer facing team member can gather information and be a great resource up to a certain point. But when it reaches that point, they then have the authority to say, I am no longer the best person for you to be successful. I am going to make sure that you are taken care of by the best person to make you successful. Then they have that process to pass things on. And there is this sense of ownership that you as a leader have to develop. And that's, again, where those foundations come into play, where everyone is keeping an eye on everything, because customer support tickets, customer experience interactions, those are people that have hit a point where they can no longer be successful. Nobody wants to reach out to us. They always get to a point after they've tried everything, and then they reach out to us. And so if you are creating a holistic experience where they know that everything that they're sharing, everything we're asking them is to make the product better because we're listening to them internally, if that's the way that you are set up as a company, it is a seamless funnel for everything. We all want more information because knowledge is power, and knowledge is what's going to make those products even better.
Knowledge, and you also touched upon empowering employees to resolve
100%.
issues, right? Nice.
Yeah, because what happens in customer support way too often is if things are ambiguous, then people start making assumptions. And that's because they don't feel safe to ask questions. That's because they don't feel supported with the information they've been provided. And when you are leading a team that is filled with team members that do not feel safe to ask these questions, to be vulnerable and say, hey, I'm not 100% on this, then you are creating a team that is giving misinformation to your customer all the time. And the way that you lead your team, the type of support that you give your team is so crucial to the customer experience. If you have a team that feels undervalued, if you have a team that feels unsupported, if they're underpaid and they know it, if they don't like coming into work every day, your customers are going to feel it. And that is the responsibility of leadership, senior leadership, the C-suite, to make sure that that customer-facing team feels wonderful and excited to help the customer because they are in a supportive, empowered, and valued environment.
So you're more hinting towards a culture of customer centricity within the organization, where from C-suite level to even customer facing staff, everyone is involved and everyone is empowered to take those decisions.
They have to be.
Any examples which companies, I mean, it's very easy to say in theory, but have you come across organizations who have been able to successfully implement it and develop that kind of culture?
Well, here's the thing. every single company is capable of doing this. Every single company should be doing this. There's a lot of companies that do it well. I think Buffer is a place that is known for the employee experience and the customer experience. There's a company, Buzzsprout. They work with podcast hosts, and that is a space that you know that those teams are supported and valued and excited to interact with the customer. There's a lot of startups now where the folks that are leading the space, the CEOs, the founders, understand how to be a differentiator. And I think when I start to see different companies like Dataland or The Loops, or there's also, it's on the tip of my tongue, Tetra, that's another great company that they're asking a lot of questions of how do we make this great tool for customer experience professionals so that the customers have the best outcome. And those companies that are asking those hard questions and are really working hard to make sure that they're getting it right are creating cultures within their own company that then are customer focused and celebratory of the customer experience. And so it's been a joy to get to know these different founders and CEOs that are coming into the space just eager to learn how to be more customer centric. And those are the companies that are going to be really successful.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing these examples. I'm sure our audience will learn, understand more the culture about these organizations and benefit from it. One more thing, Sarah, I've noticed it's become more and more, I think many companies have started talking about it, which is having KPIs, defining certain matrices to assess how they are performing when it comes to their CX strategies. In your opinion, what are the most important matrices for measuring the strength and sustainability of a CX foundation? What are the key ingredients that you need to have in form of matrices to successfully run a CX program?
Yeah, this one's a tough one. This one's a tough one because there is so much hype around these old metrics of NPS, of CSAT, of these different surveys where we're asking customers to give us feedback. And I've never really bought in to that being an indicator of how a company is doing because only a certain group of people are usually answering those surveys. And it's usually not the ones that are the average user experience. It's a high, it's a low, and it's something that tells such a short little nugget of information for the reality of the customer experience. I think that a really good indicator is referrals. I think that's something that we're going to start being much more cognizant of how to really be pushing referral programs with companies and or with customers. And I mean, that can start for companies that are creating something for personal use, but also SaaS companies that are providing services for large corporations. If you are sharing that this is a great product, if you are excited to advocate for this company, then I think that is an indicator that you are doing a great job. I think that customer lifecycle value is another one that is a very important indicator of who this customer is and how they are going to be traveling through your product and what they should be getting out of it. But one of the biggest ones that it's not even really a KPI so much as something that just needs to be talked about is what are the trends within the support queues? What are the things that people are coming to us struggling about and what are we doing to fix it? And if you are having KPIs be associated around solving problems company wide and having it be, okay, in Q1, we are going to tackle the top 2 things that we have noticed for the last 2 quarters our customers have been interacting with us about. I mean, that is a great way to build those customer-centered foundations within your organization and have those different project-based results that the customer feels be your key focus.
Very interesting because whenever I speak to all these companies who are implementing CX programs, they do talk about referrals, NPS, customer advocates, and so on. But interesting, that point that you brought was the KPI should also be the number of actions that you are taking based on the inputs that you are receiving from the customers. So it could be something like 10 initiatives in quarter one, how many were implemented, 5 initiatives in quarter two, how many got implemented, and so on. So tracking the initiatives which are born out of the customer feedback loop is also an important KPI for organizations to move forward.
Definitely. I think about, what does the customer care about? If you are a company and you want the customers to know, we are listening to you, we care about you, do you think that they are really going to care what, like, 1/10 of the customers our survey results end up indicating? No, they are going to want to know, I am investing in this company, or I am inviting this company into my space because I believe in what they're doing. I believe in the way that they are treating their employees. I believe in the way that they are treating their customers. And I know this because they are telling me that every quarter they are spending like 70% of their time not trying to like make the founder's pipe dreams come true for some sort of feature that they think sounds cool, but actually the customers don't care about or need. They're actually spending the majority of their time making this a product that I'm going to be excited to continue to invest in.
Awesome, Sarah. That brings to my last question for the podcast today. Now, we started with sustainability and scalability. Would like to end with that question. Now, sustainability is becoming a cornerstone for CX these days because organizations, they are spending so much money into it. So how do you see CX evolving in coming years to ensure both customer satisfaction and long-term business success and business impact?
This is a big one. This is a good ender. I think there's two things that are going to be the key focus and driver for companies and the CX conversation. I think number one is either going to be a reset or an evaluation of the customer architecture, that CX foundational architecture. How are our systems and processes built? Because that is sustainability. If you do not have a process in place that allows you to scale and grow and maintain, then you are going to fail. If you are a company that has a lot of tech debt that is preventing the teams from succeeding, that is going to make you fail. Those are all things that start at that foundation. And if you're a company that's been around for 10 years, it's not too late to bring in a foundational architect to evaluate your systems and make recommendations to make things better, to sustain and grow. And then I think the second thing is going to be retention strategy. I think that it's going to be, yes, we are saying that we are investing a lot of money into CX, but are we listening to the leaders within our company for CX specifically and getting them the tools that they need to create a retention strategy that is going to allow the customer to thrive? Because unfortunately, CX leaders still are not considered an equal most of the time to other people that are at their same level. They usually don't have control of their budget. Their teams are usually the lowest paid teams that are within a company. And CX is a new field. And I think that we need to recognize that we're not as new as it may seem. We now have veterans. I mean, I've been doing this for nearly 20 years. That is a long period of time to become an expert within a field. And our teams need to be compensated as such. And so if we want to focus on the customer, if we want to have our actions speak louder than our words, and we don't want to be one of those companies that says we're customer obsessed, but really they treat their customer experience teams like crap, then you need to think about, how are you going to retain your customers? And the best way to retain your customers is to give them a customer experience that they go and tell their friend about the next day, that they're excited to share information about because they had the best interaction when they were struggling, when they were vulnerable. They reached out, they got the support that they need, and they feel confident and they feel excited to use your product.
Absolutely. In fact, I see that customers are becoming more and more important for the organizations. CEOs have started tracking customer health more than the business or revenue that the company is making. It's becoming a very important KPIs for many of the CEOs. So
Yes.
hopefully in the future, and in fact, in last 4 to 5 years, I have seen the importance of customers retention, customer initiatives have gone up. Companies are spending a lot of money to empower their employees to deliver better customer experience. So hopefully we'll see good times for customer experience professionals.
I think so. I think so. It's gonna be a good few years. I'm excited.
Absolutely. That brings us to my final second round. And Sarah, it's a rapid fire round. So hopefully you are ready.
I'm ready. I'm so ready. Bring it on.
So these are the questions which even I don't know. It's coming in front of my screen now, and I will shoot them to you. Let's go. So start. First question is, what's your go-to comfort food?
Macaroni and cheese.
Nice. Oh. What's your preference, books or podcasts?
Oof. Lately podcasts, but ask me in a week and it might be books.
Yeah, these days even I've got into podcasts. Yes, earlier it used to be books. If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go?
I got to go to Greece. I am so ready to go to Greece.
Nice choice. Coming to movie or TV shows you have watched multiple times, which one would that be?
Every fall I rewatch the series Felicity so that I can be excited for sweater weather. She has great
Okay.
sweaters on the show. It really pushes the sweater movement.
So you get inspired with your fashion from the TV shows.
Yes, from my mid 90s TV show obsession of the show Felicity. Yes.
Awesome. And you are a morning person or a night owl?
I have two small children, so I don't think that I have a choice in the matter. Some days I am forced to be up all hours of the night, and then the next day I am forced to wake up at 5:30 in the morning and do sticker crafts. So one day I will hopefully have an answer that I am able to choose on my own, but not now.
Great. And Sarah, that brings us to the end of the podcast. A big thank you to you for sharing your expertise and insights on building a sustainable CX foundation for long-term success of organizations. Frameworks that we discussed today, amazing inputs. Your experience, knowledge will undoubtedly inspire a lot of businesses to rethink how they structure and scale their customer service operations. Thank you so much, Sarah. We
Thank you
hope you
so much.
and to my audience, we hope you found today's conversation valuable and that it sparked some new ideas for scaling your customer experience initiatives within the organization to bring top-notch quality in what you are delivering. Until next time, keep innovating and creating extraordinary experiences for your customers. Thank you so much.